Hello and welcome to another episode of Suddenly Single. Today I've got with me an unfiltered loose woman, one half of How to Stay Married So Far, which she does with her hubby Mark or Adderley. Sorry,
That's
Nadia, I've
right,
got it wrong.
Adelaide.
Yeah.
Took me years.
One half of the Curly Crooks of Croydon with Sister Dina, and a woman who admits she lives in clutter and chaos thanks to her ADHD,
Yes.
Nadia Sawalha.
Da-da-da-da.
Just wanna get out of here. Hello. Before we jump into the next episode of Suddenly Single, please click the subscribe button, leave us your thoughts, and that way you won't miss another episode. Now back to the show.
I can't believe I'm sat here with odd socks and you've got the most glamorous, I no longer need to be single shoes on.
Well, look, I've got to try now, right? I'm not saying you don't, but when I was in my 17-year relationship, I think probably one of the reasons it didn't last is he saw too many tracksuits
And odd
and
socks.
odd socks. Yes, yes. So I now don't wear the odd socks anymore.
My husband would love those shoes.
Do you want me to donate them to you? What size feet are you?
Thing is, I've got beautiful shoes in the cupboard. The great thing about being single, or the worst thing, is that you do have to still have painful feet, but you are adored for what you're wearing.
There is a lot of best and worst about being suddenly single, but we won't go into too many of them quite yet. So you know what? One of the things I've always loved about you, because we've worked together on and off probably for at
Yes,
least a decade,
yes.
right? Is that you are unbelievably honest. And you have been married for 23 years.
Yeah,
You were only together for 6 months before you decided to have a
yeah,
baby and get going. I mean,
yeah. Up
no
the duff,
flies
I
on
think
you.
3 months. But I mean, years later, of course, we discovered we are both ADHD, and actually Mark, they said, is off the scale ADHD. And it explained so much of how we first got together, that really impulsive,
Yeah,
compulsive
love you, go and do
behavior.
it now.
Oh, I love you. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
let's just do it. And it was all crazy. Never would have imagined that here we would be 23 years later.
But you are together 23
Mm.
years later, but you have, which is another thing about you being honest, said that you would have divorced on many occasions
Many.
if it wasn't for Maddie, your 21-year-old
Mhm.
daughter,
Mhm.
therapists,
Mhm.
and starting this
Rehab.
podcast, rehab. You said that Maddie, it was a terrible choice on paper to have a baby. What do you mean?
Well, because my husband was an active alcoholic, I was a mad drinker, partier, chaotic person. We'd only just met, and, and I got pregnant. We were both people that would just, like, very live wires and would just do things without much thinking. And he's 6 years younger than me. So and both of us had jobs that were taking us on location. There wasn't a single like thing on paper that would make this work. So that you would think it would work. And you could tell at the wedding, people were like, "Oh, yes, this is lovely for you." You just knew everyone was going, "Oh my God, and she's up the duff. This isn't gonna last." And it was so funny because actually on our actual wedding day, I announced to everybody in the well, not the church, but the kind of chapel. It wasn't a religious wedding, that I was pregnant. And it was just amazing because everyone was like, so we were just nuts. We were like kids, really.
So, okay, what do you think stopped the breakdown? Because you do say you've said Maddie to some
Mm.
extent, but also you've had a lot of counselling, haven't you?
Well, the thing is, like, before Mark went into rehab, I was having I hadn't really taken in that he was an alcoholic. So I'd always been around heavy drinkers. I was a heavy drinker.
Me too.
Yeah, so I just didn't know. We all were, in the good old days. And because he was younger than me, he was extremely high functioning,
Yeah.
very, very successful, doing brilliantly in his job. I just didn't know he was an alcoholic. I just hadn't worked that out. I didn't know anything
Did
really
he
about
know he was
alcoholism.
an alcoholic?
No,
No.
no, no. I mean, as it went on and on, we thought, yeah, there's a real problem here.
What made you realise there was a problem? Because it was never a night with a break, or
Well, it was, you know how things just get worse and worse.
oh
So,
yeah,
like, he was like, people would, people would be, we'd have a great time, dinner and stuff, and it just became the normal that if he went upstairs to the toilet, he would only fall back down. So you would
okay.
hear him fall all the way down the stairs, and we'd all howl with laughter. And then everyone would go home, and then quite often I'd come down and he's fallen asleep on the sofa, or like there's the record player still going. So it was all these things that kept building and building. And then I realized he wasn't stopping drinking. He would, and we were having loads of rows, and he wasn't who I knew he was when he was drunk. So it
Mm.
became like, I still didn't really know he was an alcoholic then, but it was like, oh, this is really interfering with life. I don't like this. And I think because of Maddie,
Mhm.
we probably would have carried on, and I would have been drinking as much as him. I would have
Mhm.
escalated my drinking with him because that's what I'd sort of done all the way through all the different relationships I had. I was always with heavy drinkers. Well, no, not always.
But
Um,
I think we partied a lot, particularly media,
just a
partied
different world, wasn't it?
massively,
Mm.
you know?
Much more acceptable,
Yeah.
because it was harder to spot an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Um, and so then it got really bad, and I was really unhappy, and we'd had a massive row. And I said to him, "That's it. You get sober, or you never, ever come through this door again." It was literally, I was that boundaried. And he freaked out. He really freaked out. He left that day. The Priory said it was so rare for somebody of his age to walk up that path themselves without somebody dragging them in and say, "I need to get sober." Booked himself in for 5 days later, and then went on a bender for 5 days. And we always shudder at the thought because we think he could have died in those few days because he drank so heavily and everything. Oh, the other point was I rang up everyone we knew, and his mum said nobody can listen to him or open the door to him. And if I hadn't have done that, he wouldn't have got sober.
What you mean he had nowhere to go, so he
It
had to go
wasn't
to
it
the Priory?
because it wasn't about not having anywhere to live, because of course he went and stayed in a hotel,
Yeah.
but no one's to listen to the woe is me. There is no
Oh,
woe is
okay.
me. He's ill with
Yeah.
this dis-ease, this disease,
Mhm.
and he is, and he's gonna lose everything.
How old were
So,
your children by then? Do you have
well,
both of them?
it was, I only had Maddie, and Maddie, I think was 2. Yeah,
Okay.
he's 22 years sober. Yeah, she's 23 now, yeah. Yeah.
22 years sober.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
so proud of him, one day at a time.
Well done
I
him.
know, don't,
Yeah.
because it makes me immediately makes me want to cry,
Does it?
because it's so hard for people to it's a world that is we are so tuned to alcohol.
Do you know we
Everything is
are?
alcohol. I mean, I remember in the early days, people saying to me, and obviously Mark won't come, and I think, "Well, why? We'll be drinking." It's like, we
Mm.
literally are ostracized if you don't drink. But he's never judged anyone. We have alcohol everywhere in the house. He'll pour the drinks. And I think it's people are frightened of feeling judged if there's somebody not drinking in the room. So it's very hard. And he was so young to give up
Yeah.
drinking. And he loved to party and dance and all those things. And it's really hard. And of course, years later, we discovered he was actually bipolar 2.
Ah.
So the psychiatrist said that he was probably bipolar 2 at about 7 years old. And so and his mother was an addict. So he started medicating at about 17 with alcohol. And the psychiatrist said to him, "What's so sad is if it had been picked up, he probably wouldn't have gone on this road
That
of alcoholism."
trajectory.
Yeah.
But it's amazing though, and but even so, you're a normal couple. I
Yeah.
would suggest that anyone who's in a relationship for 23 years, well done you for still being in it.
Yes.
You and Mark have still had highs and lows,
Yes. Every
and
every day.
every day.
There's a high and a low every
Okay.
day.
But I thought I must ask her this. She said, "We've had counselling, but even the bad ones made it better." Well,
Yes.
what is a bad one? What constitutes a
Well, when
bad
you don't like
counsellor?
them, and
Oh, you
and
don't
you're in like
like
episode
them.
2 with them, and you just go, "Oh my." I remember probably the last time we went to a marriage guidance counselor was we'd had a couple of sessions with her, and we came out of the session, and I said, "I don't like her." And he said, "I don't like her either." I said, "Should we just not go back?" And he said, and I remember we just laughed so much, and we had a really good conversation about it, and realized that actually we knew us better, and we knew what we needed to do better than her telling us.
Is that one of the reasons you started How to Stay Married, in brackets, so far?
I wish I could remember exactly how it started. I mean, we have a YouTube channel which we run like a TV channel. So we do a morning show, we do food, we do cookery, we do gardening, we do everything. And then it was like, wow, because people were getting to know us a lot through those programs.
Yeah.
People were always asking us about our marriage, and because we'd been very open
Yeah.
about mental health and about Mark getting sober, people started asking more and more questions about how he got sober, and we talked about our miscarriages.
Mm.
So then it was like that. It came very organically, Um, and actually, at that time, we weren't in a good spot again in our marriage. I think we'd stopped listening to each other, and we weren't communicating. Everything comes down to communication. If your
Mm.
relationship is failing, just ask yourself, am I avoiding every single conversation with this person? Do I still like this person? Because what I find so many, and this is more so with women, like when I see women in trouble with a relationship, and I am quite a good marriage guidance counselor, I have to say, 'cause I've been through it a bit, and they'll, be telling me what their problems are with their relationship. And I always say, I like to catch them off guard and I go, do you like them? And they go, oh, well, I love it. And I went, no, but do you like it? And honestly, a bloke can be the most miserable, like no saving graces, but they can't say I like him, but they can say I love him. And for me, it's way more important, the liking, because we can hang on to the love forever. But that honestly, sometimes I see them want to be physically sick rather than say that they like the person because they don't like them. They don't like their presence. They don't like the way they talk to them. They don't like the way they eat. They don't like the way they deal with the kids. They don't like the way they are when they come home from a girl's night. There's nothing that they like. And that's really toxic because it just seeps in. And before you know it, you can't even look at them.
So what do you think
And we
is
were a bit on that spot when we started our How to Stay Mad. We got a little bit too, I didn't want to look at, we didn't want to look at each other properly because it was too much we weren't saying. So
Mm.
so our having to sit down every week or every couple of weeks, sometimes I'd say, oh, I can't do it. Like we wouldn't do it for 3 weeks. And having to sit opposite each
Mm.
other and talk to each other made us listen because we were doing it because we were doing a filmed podcast. And when people say to me, I can't afford to go to a marriage guidance counselor, I say, do you want me to just distill it in a couple of lines so you don't have to pay for it? He said,
Yeah, go for
the
it.
best, and every marriage guidance counselor in some way gives you this. Set a timer. You can decide 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you want. And the other one has to, and you can talk. So Nadia, you can talk about whatever you want. You
Mhm.
could talk about that you've always dreamed to ride a hot air balloon.
Mhm.
You could talk about how much you hate him when he fancies a bit of how's your father and you're knackered and whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the other person cannot interrupt you and they have to look at you and have to listen. But they don't have to answer whatever you said. They could then answer it or they could talk about something else. And what it does is it teaches you again to actually listen and bring other things into your relationship. I would say 70% of my friends, I see them not wanting to look at their partners. But you do this. Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi. Anyone who's listener, try it. Ask yourself, can you still look at your partner in the eyes? Because some people can have sex, they still have sex. They might have crazy sex. Don't ask me to look at him and don't ask me to say I like him. I say I love him. I'm not saying I like
I'm
him.
going to start setting an egg timer and I have conversations because I'm a shocker. Keep going talking. I need to be turned off. That's for
Wow.
sure.
Well, ADHD is an extra
Yeah.
problem as well. So we were very like that, finishing off each other's sentences, assuming we know what the other one's going to say, not wanting to talk about things that are going to cause any friction. And that's really bad for me because what happens is I suppress and then I go completely terrifyingly nuts. And that is not good.
But I'll tell you, I was watching one of yours the other day and you did two things on it. One that I thought, oh, wow, that's contentious for him, but you're obviously used to doing this. Like you said, your anxiety is giving me anxiety. Just stop it. And I thought, oh, for most people, this is a most explosive row waiting to happen. But he just said, I hear you,
Oh,
which
was this
was
our marriage podcast?
yeah, on your marriage podcast. And then you did something really nice. I can't remember if it was the same one, but he's tell people about the painting that's on your wall, the most romantic thing he's ever given you.
Oh, he gives me such romantic.
So I actually wrote it down, what it says on it. Tell us all about this. Oh, yeah. What are all these kisses worth if thou kisses me not? Isn't that
It's
lovely?
so beautiful. He learned how to screen paint to make that painting.
Oh,
And like, I know. I remember, like, he makes me these videos because he's such a he went to film school, he's a great filmmaker, and he's very, very good with music. So, I remember at a time when I was really low around menopause time, and he says it's the only time he thought about leaving me for a split second. Well, I've thought about leaving him tons of times. He's only thought about it once for a minute. And it was around menopause because I'd open the door and just slam it 10 times and go, crash the car, crash the car. I was like a maniac, absolute maniac. And I'd said to him at one point, "I just feel like I've just lost I don't think I was ever anything. I don't know everything about me. I've got questions about." Anyway, a couple of months later, it's my birthday. I'd totally forgotten about this conversation. Oh my God, this film, girls always ask, "Can we watch it? Can we watch it?" And he just made this beautiful film of photos through all of the time that we've been together, with all the people that I've cared about and everything, but so beautifully shot and edited to all this fantastic music. And I just literally at the end of it, I was like, I'm amazing. And I'm gorgeous.
Well, you are gorgeous,
And
Nadia.
in fact, yesterday on Loose Women, we were talking about, it was actually Christine, and it was talking about Frank, and he'd done this lovely speech for her. He'd just done something footbally that was really good. I didn't really understand what it was, but I loved this. I loved the love story. And we were talking about those words of affirmation and how much they mean to us. And I was really struck while we were talking, because I thought, oh my God, I take this for granted because he gives me words of affirmation all the time. He will,
Yeah.
he gives me all the time, and I must start appreciating that.
Do you think, and this is going slightly sideways, but do you think your parents are a massive example on you? Now, you can say to me, Siobhan, I'm not like that at all, but I think you're a bit like me. I come from an Irish background, right? And I am very fiery and very
Mm.
volatile, and it comes up before I've even thought about it. I
Mhm.
think you're a little bit like that.
Absolutely.
And
We said this yesterday to Colleen
oh,
on
did
Loose Women.
you?
I said she was talking about her family, I was talking about mine. I said the Irish and the Arabs are very similar.
Yeah, and they're just
I
like
don't fear confrontation. It's like fiery and out there and loud.
yeah, my brother and I love each other one minute, and we're not talking the next. And it's all very chaotic, really, for want of
Mm.
a better word. And my mum was like that. She would just be very explosive, and my dad, very English, very controlled, very army.
That's very similar because my mum's very English, very controlled,
Yes,
and my dad is, obviously is Jordanian
but
and
yeah, exactly.
mm.
But my point is this: do you think that Mark seems very English and very calm to me when I
Oh,
waste the time? You
yeah,
don't
he's
think?
volatile like me. He's
Is he?
Scorpio ADHD.
Oh,
He suffered a lot with jealousy, and that would drive me absolutely insane, and then I would end up blowing up like my family might, like his mum would. And eventually I said to him, and it was a bit below the belt, I said, God, it's almost like you're wanting me to be your mum. I feel like I'm being pushed into a role
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
And it just came out of me. Anyway, we discussed that in the counselling, and sure enough, the counsellor agreed with me. I love those ones. I usually play those ones more. No, joking.
But do you know the other thing about that? Because I have never had counselling, and I probably should, but I've got a really good friend called James who's had a lot of counselling. And he said, you're used to sitting in an uncomfortable space. And I think that's what Mark was doing. You
Mm.
create that place where you are comfortable, even though it's not a healthy place.
Yes. Yes, we go to what is
Yes,
familiar.
familiar,
And it's
familiar.
like, I remember when I eventually gave up smoking, it was because I had a cessation therapist. And I sound like I've had loads of therapy. I haven't. We usually only go 3 times. That's exactly what can happen in a marriage. And you can lose your relationship with no idea why, because you're
Yeah.
I remember our marriage guidance counselor saying to us, what happens is, he said, therapy as a couple is so much harder than as a single person, because most people, and you'll probably be the same, and that's why I'd really think that probably don't bother with any therapy, is as you
You're a
can,
lost
especially with
cause.
ADHD, it's because you can just take them off. You can literally manipulate your therapist where something's uncomfortable, you don't want to talk about it. But when you come in as a couple, stuff gets really painful because you've got somebody else witnessing.
Mm.
And he said couples will come in, they will break up, and then they will move away and they will have another relationship and it will be almost identical to the previous relationship. It's not like, oh, right, now I'm going to go home and change all of this. But it was like, oh, that's just a little seed that I've got to think about and sort of go, oh, am I doing
Yeah.
that? You know,
I mean, your parents are still married. So what
92 and 88,
God bless
still
them,
married, still with each
really.
other every minute of the day. Yeah.
What good things did you learn from your parents' marriage? What good lessons?
My parents have got an old fashioned marriage. My mum is formidable, but she was a real stay at home mum. So she sacrificed everything for my dad. She adored my dad. So
Mm.
everything is about my dad, but she doesn't come across like that. She's very tough as well. But he just wouldn't function. I mean, he can't do anything. I mean, he never used his cash point card because he said there's something ridiculous about looking like you're taking a and walking away with money. I was like, well, you're lucky you've got mum to go and get the cash out then. You know, he's that sort of a dad. But I think they both find each other funny. And my dad's big advice for a marriage was
Humour.
if unless you have at least one belly laugh a day, forget it. You won't survive. And so laughing, I really notice when Mark and I don't laugh for a bit, I'm like, oh, why aren't we laughing? We need to loosen it up a bit, be a bit silly, a bit playful.
And you live quite near your parents,
Next
don't you?
door.
Literally next door. And
Yeah.
that's good for your marriage.
It was very difficult at the beginning because I lived next door to my parents and to Dina, and we didn't have any gates. So all the gardens, we would just all just like tromp through because I'd always lived like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But like it's and he never complained. But if you think about it, like somebody's come in through the back window because they want
Yeah.
to get a chicken out your fridge because they need a chicken, or it's 1 o'clock in the morning, said just come and get wine. So you couldn't. Like there was no sex on the kitchen table or anything like that because you never knew he was going to come
Oh,
through the window.
no.
So those are lost years. I do often wonder, what a shame. But once we put the fences up, it became much better. Um,
Sorry, Nadia's parents, but she had to have sex on the kitchen table occasionally. I don't know what to tell you.
I think close
Yeah.
family. I think Mark had he had such a tiny family, and I think being part of my family has been a really strengthening thing. My mum and dad were always next door. My sister was next door, so we'd all share all the childcare. I'd look after her kids. She'd look after my kids.
Mhm.
So, I mean, when I first did City Hospital, which was my first ever live show, Maddie was like 3, 4 months old. I would have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the studio, get to the hospital. And so I would just go next door and just put my baby into either my mum's bed or my sister's bed.
And off back.
Unbelievable.
So, as well as children, you have 2 dogs, don't you? You do now have Pepper.
Pepper, who I am
Yes.
obsessed.
Yes.
My
Yes.
kids are like getting a bit jealous. It's really weird to watch.
Well, that was my question. I was going to say, how
Yeah.
much do you love your dogs?
I love them both, but Toffee is a diva. She'll only be nice to you when she wants something to eat. But she's so funny and she makes us laugh so much. But Pepper, which is my miniature schnauzer, I've never known such a cuddly dog. They're just the most amazing breed. Their characters are like nothing else.
So, what's Toffee then?
Toffee's cockapoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
and a Schnauzer is more loving and cuddly than a cockapoo.
Well, it depends what cockapoo you've got. Toffee's just a diva. She's a diva.
Does Mark come above her in the pecking order? Because I will be honest, when I've had dogs in the past, they've come above everybody, including my child.
Maddie said to me the other day, she goes, do you love Pepper more than me? I was like, no.
Not every day.
Not every day.
Not every moment of
I was
every
like I say
day.
to my kids, when they say, have you got a favourite? I say, yep, whoever's been nicest to me on that day, that's my favourite.
Oh, you see, I should have had more children and more pets.
Yes. For leverage.
Are you still taking off Kim Kardashian?
I am. I haven't taken her off as much. She got very dull, actually. She's just kept wearing like normal clothes. But I
But
am
why
going
did you
to.
do it in the first place? Because it was hilarious. For anyone
Mm.
who's not seen it, it's Nadia basically taking off Kim Kardashian.
All my body acceptance has come from Kim Kardashian.
Wow.
How weird is that?
That is strange.
It's so weird.
Well, it's like, I'd
Because
rather be
the
normal.
more I did her, yeah. The more I did her and the more I exposed myself, the more ridiculous that industry became to me,
Yeah.
And so I had, I've said this many times on Loose Women and all over the place, and Carol is always wonderful. She always sticks up for me. She says, "I remember her when she wouldn't get in a pool unless you pushed her in with a sarong on." People don't believe that I had such bad body acceptance. I would not show my body in any way, shape, or form. And I was just mortified about showing my body. And we did the big photo shoot with Loose Women where we all had to be in our bar and knickers. That was the first moment that I wasn't sleeping at night over that. I was beside myself. But I wanted to do it because I wanted to force myself to do it and have the worst thing ever could happen, which would, the world doesn't stop turning, folks. Anyway, so I did that. And then because I did that, then all the Kardashian stuff, and I don't know, I just one day I thought, I'd have a little go at lip syncing, and it just went crazy.
Oh, well, it got you a couple of covers of best, I
Yeah.
will say.
They went everywhere, those, but I am going to start doing it again.
One of the things I watched with you the other night, um, looking inside your house, you went from room to room. You went, "I haven't done anything. I haven't tidied. I'm just gonna show you around." And I thought, I have a room like Monica's closet, and you opened one of your cupboards, and it was exactly like Monica's closet. You went, "Yeah, maybe we'll make the cupboard another episode." Why do you do that? Is it just to make
I
women feel when
Yes.
they feel that they can't cope?
Yeah.
Well, none of us can, let's
Yeah,
be honest.
I think rather like the Kardashian take that then actually made me feel better, it's a similar thing. I've always been really ashamed of my chaos and my inability to be organized. And that was always there, the chaos in my life. But then when the boom right across Instagram of all these videos of people cleaning, I love watching. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I really love watching them because I'm totally fascinated. I mean, a few weeks ago, I saw a woman cleaning her stairs with a saucepan lid. Well, she put a cloth over it and then she was
Oh.
like cleaning it. And I was like,
Oh.
I watched it about 10 times. I was like, oh, it's incredible. I am in
Was that a
awe.
top tip?
It was a top tip.
I
They're all
must look it
doing
up.
it. They've all got these cloths
Yeah.
around saucepan lids. And like when people like make their beds, I've never made my bed ever. I just kick it in the air, and I'm so lucky that I have a husband that's exactly the same. We went to see the Tracy Emin exhibition the other day, and we got to the bed bit, and we both went,
Bit like being at
"Get
home.
nothing." I know, it's just so much worse.
I know she's amazing,
The
but
bed isn't that.
I felt like when she was at college, she hadn't done any homework. She said, "I know what I'll do. I'll send my bed in." And it took off.
But it was incredible.
I mean, it was a
Nothing had ever
moment in
been
time.
Croydon's Tracy, love.
Well, I know, I've seen it.
But I think, see, the first time I posted something about my messy upstairs room, it was a very similar response to the Kim. And you think, there's loads of people like me.
Yeah.
And everything feels better when there's somebody else going, oh, yeah, that's what I'm like.
I mean, that is one true saying. It gets better with age because you get confidence.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
ridiculous. You're so beautiful when you're young and you're full of insecurities and anxieties. It's youth is wasted on the young.
totally. What we hopefully do as you get older is you break open the echo chamber of your fears.
Yeah.
And then when you do that,
Yeah.
you find that there are so many other women that are thinking exactly the same way.
Yeah.
So I never do this with like, oh, I'm on a crusade and I want women to feel better. It's all everything happens organically. And
Yeah.
I know that loads and loads of people, honestly, I can't tell you the people that message me go, I'm just so glad. And like people that follow me regularly on my YouTube channel, they will literally see me spend 2 days cleaning up my room. 3 days later, it's back to where it was. And I don't know how it happened. It's like, honestly, I'm 61 and I'm not like 10 anymore, standing in my bedroom going to my mum, I don't know how it happened, but it's exactly the same. I don't know how it happened. I don't
Well,
know where we got to with this.
it's called life, right? Now,
Mm,
Nadia Sawalha, before you leave, I need you
mm.
to play the honesty box game with
Okay.
me. I'm going to get my new assistant, Rachel, so I don't have to walk in my shoes to bring it in.
I'm hoping you've got some trainers somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
didn't wear these in
Flip
here.
flops.
These are just for show. So this is called the Suddenly Single Honesty Box of Truth.
Okay.
So it's just to find out a bit more about you.
Okay.
So go for it. I don't leave you hanging. I will answer them too.
Okay. Is sex important? Yes. Unfortunately, girls.
You mean it's important for him the way you said that?
Well, what I think is that it is important for all of us, and I've always loved sex. And then when I got my, you have children, you have breastfeeding, you have all of this, you have a person that you don't like any, all these reasons can come
Mhm.
in for a woman.
Mhm.
If only men would understand that if a woman feels more cherished, and that's not about taking her somewhere fancy or fill the dishwasher without asking for a round of applause. You know, don't just put the stuff on the side, clear, just give it a wipe.
Yes.
You know, when she comes in, really ask her about her day. This is foreplay.
Yeah.
Foreplay isn't da 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 for 2 minutes. Foreplay happens all day. I was saying, the sort of the low level sulk that comes in when they start like moving around, not quite focusing anywhere. And it's just like, oh, why don't you just be a bit nicer? Also, testosterone levels drop. I started my HRT 9 years actually, 9 years post menopause. That's really unusual. And so by that time, I had no testosterone. And what happens when you don't have testosterone, you forget that you've ever liked sex. That's
Okay.
the thing.
Yeah.
But then because you need testosterone, now don't get me wrong, boys and girls, it doesn't mean it's like you're in a club and you've had loads to drink and suddenly you fancy everybody. You still have to like the person, but you will literally have that sex hormones back. If you're not having sex, then you're just friends. But if you both don't want sex, that's fine. But if one person does and the other person doesn't, then I don't see how the relationship's going to work.
No, I agree with you. Right. Go for the next one.
Okay. What's one trait in your partner drives you mad? Um,
Just the one, Nadia.
just one. It's a smorgasbord of delights. Um, I think it is a bit tricky, this, because it's also part of Mark's um, mental health challenges, so that he takes things in very deeply.
Mhm.
And like I can let go of stuff much quicker. He's very, very intelligent. So he tends to think of things right to the nth degree. So where I've moved on, he's still wanting to like identify
Mhm.
it, talk about, and I literally go scream, let go, let go. It's something I
Yeah.
say to him a lot. And
Oh, bless him.
which I suppose is a good and bad about that, because
Endearing.
it also makes him feel very deeply in a positive way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one.
Mhm.
Oh, I can help you with this one because I've had a lot of it.
Oh,
Surgery, yes or
surgery.
no?
Well, yes, I've just been offered a free facelift,
Oh, go for
or
it.
neck lift.
Oh,
I really understand it now when people say, "But I don't look how I feel inside," and
yes.
that's how I feel about my neck. It's ancient. I've always had an old neck. I've always had those lines,
Yeah.
and it's very wrinkly, and my eyes draw to it all the time. But I've had a real crisis of feminist guilt.
Have you?
Yes, it's
Oh,
so bad
don't.
because I just wanna go, "Yes, please." When? But my conscience is going, "But aren't I just supposed to be accepting who I am?"
Well, I've had a facelift. I'm constantly
Have
having
you?
Botox. I'm going to have my second facelift very probably. I'm thinking
Really?
about having my teeth done. Yeah, I don't. Why not? Why not? If it makes me feel more confident. I currently have a boyfriend who is 7 years younger than me,
Oh, same as me and Mark.
and so I do notice things, and I think,
Notice the feeling of getting
yeah, and
older, yeah.
the lack of confidence in myself. Just looking in the mirror, thinking. So I think if you want to fix it or it makes you feel better, go for it.
So, years ago, my mum,
Yeah.
was feeling this way, right? And so, I said to her, and I was really in the money in those days, I said, "Well, if you want, I'll get you a facelift for your
Oh.
birthday." Right. Anyway, so, she was like, she was really up for it. A couple of days later, we're having dinner with my dad. We said, "Oh, we're going to get Mum a facelift for her birthday." And he goes, "Oh, what?" I said, "A facelift." He goes, "Why would she have a facelift?" I went, "Well, because her face has fallen." And he went, "Hasn't?" And he went, "No, no, it has. Look, look." And he goes, "She will look 6 years old if you give her a facelift." And I thought, it's so sweet because they've got old together. He
He doesn't
doesn't
see
see it.
it. Oh, that's love, isn't
And
it?
my
That's
mum literally
beautiful.
never mentioned, it wasn't like you can't have it, he's not that sort
Yeah,
of a person
yeah.
at all, but my mum never mentioned it
You
again.
couldn't see it.
It was just
She probably just needed that validation for him
yeah,
that he didn't
yeah.
see it.
Yeah, he just was
Yeah.
dumbfounded. He goes, "She'll look sick."
Oh, oh. Your last question on Suddenly Single, Nadia Sawalha. Do you need a man to change the plug?
My husband is useless, right?
Yeah.
And we have constant rows about this. And I buy things next day delivery because we desperately need a blackout blind, for instance.
Yes.
It's been there for 7 years, standing in the corner. And people say to me, "Well, why don't you do it yourself?" It's like,
Yes.
I don't want to. And he won't let me get a man in who does. Because he's like, "No." But this year, I have turned a corner. I've got now my own drill.
Yeah.
And I'm following, what's his name? It's in Big Brother.
Craig Phillips.
Yeah, him. And I am learning from him. And this next decade of my life, I'm going to do everything on my own.
Oh, I'm going to start following him too. And I bet I do absolutely nothing. If I could bring you back in 10 years, we'll both be going, yeah, well, I watched
But do you
him.
get a man in who does?
For the last year, I've had a brilliant man that does,
Oh,
but I
oh,
don't do because I'm a bit like you because of the ADHD. I'm gonna do,
yeah,
and all the stuff's there,
yeah.
but I have never been able to. I can change a plug, but
I can change a
I
plug
wouldn't know how to put up a blackout blind. No, 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 no.
because I can't. It's-
Thank you for coming in to
Thank
Suddenly
you. I've
Single.
loved it. So nice to
Oh,
see you
thank
again.
you. Lovely to see you.